And good evening and welcome to another edition of Sports Corner. My name is Ralph Williams along with Smokin Jim Frazier. Good evening, Smokin Jim. We had a little bit of technical issues there for a few moments.
Hey, Ralph.
Yeah, how's everything going tonight? Good. All right, where our guest Leo Haggerty will be back in a few moments here because, like I said, we had to switch up on some equipment here, which unfortunately happened, but we got ourselves back together here and up and running. Lots to talk about tonight here on Sports Corner. And I got to tell you, we have plenty to talk about. So first of all, Smokin Jim, let's start off till we get Leo Haggerty back up here. Let's start off with the Steelers. They won last night. And how many times have I said it? It's better to be lucky than good. I think they were lucky last night. They were not very good. At some points, the defense gave up too many yards. But fortunately, they came out on top. And I think Jeff Saturday, as you always say, got exposed last night. So what do you think about that, Smokin Jim?
Hey, man, it was a very entertaining game for Monday Night Football. Something that probably wouldn't happen next year because, you can get bumped on Monday Night Football, I think, starting in 2023. Hey, it was very entertaining. I was proud of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that they're catching fire a little bit too late for them to take advantage of this particular season. Like the Cincinnati Bengals caught fire at the right time. And there's an old saying in football, people remember what you do in December. Cincinnati started getting hot in November, and it looks like they're going to make a push for the Super Bowl again.
Okay. All right, hang on a minute. Leo's having some issues getting on here. Give me 1 second, Smokin Jim.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to have Leo Haggerty on again another time because I'm having some issues getting him up here on the stream. So we'll have him on another time. All right. As I was saying about the Steelers, and I said this, Jeff Saturday, he got exposed. Fourth down, went for it twice, then comes up 4th and 2, makes his kicker try to kick a 59-yard field goal, and then he should have went for it again because he was having such success, Smokin Jim, at going for it on 4th down against the Steelers. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm never a fan of kicking a field goal of that particular distance unless you need it at the end of the game with no time left on the clock to try to get lucky. So I agree with you. He should have went for it on 4th down.
Yeah, it was crazy because he had us, our backs. We had our backs against the wall for the 4th down, and then all of a sudden it's 4th and 2, and it was the lowest of the 4th downs. With the you only needed 2 yards. The other ones, I think he needed 19, and I forget what the other one was. And he went for it on 4th down, but then 4th and 2, and then his clock management at the end. Did you see that, Smokin Jim? On 30 seconds left in the game, and he's running the football. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering too what he was thinking, but I didn't get an opportunity to hear his post-game press conference. Maybe he explained the reasoning for that.
Yeah, I didn't hear it either, but I got to tell you this: I was not impressed with Jeff Saturday, and I found out his offensive coordinator used to be the pass game coordinator, and he's never been an offensive coordinator, never called plays, never done anything. And, so there you go. That's why they're struggling the way they are. And I could see the look on Matt Ryan's face, and I felt bad for him because he was trying to get something started, and Jeff Saturday kept shutting it down. So, I think this game, if the Colts have anybody to blame, it's Jeff Saturday.
Well, I think if they have anybody to blame, it's a quarterback that I had a lot of respect for over the years, but Ryan is done, man. His arm is done. His body is done. His football IQ is gone. they maybe win the game if he takes one more step before he slides,
Right.
before getting that first down. He ran all the way. He could have ran for another 3 or 4 yards, but he prematurely slid, and they never did pick up that first down, and that was critical.
Oh,
Matt
yeah.
Ryan is Matt Ryan is a quarterback who almost won a Super Bowl. Super Bowl almost winning quarterback, and just to see him now, he just looks like an old man out there. But he's the best option, I guess they have.
Right. Well, I got to tell you this, Smoking Jim. Najee Harris was hurt in the game. He has an abdominal injury. And Benny Smell, and I've always called him Smell because he stinks, believe it or not, came in and had a great running game last night. And I think the line blocked well. But look at Anthony McFarland. He came up from the practice squad. And look at what he did last night. I thought he contributed quite well. And then Kenny Pickett had to use his legs. How'd you like that design quarterback run that he used last night, where he got a lot of chunky yardage in the first half? So I think there was a little bit in the first half, but once again, we had a second game in a row where in the second half we just didn't do anything with the offense, and I don't get what this is. Why one half you do good and then the second half you go boom? I just don't get it. What do you think about that?
Well, Bill Parcells told Curtis Martin when he coached him that you never want to go out of the game because you never know who's going to come in.
Right.
And Curtis Martin was extremely durable in professional football, something that he wasn't at Pitt.
Right.
And I tell you, Jalen Warren going to have a hard time getting his backup running back position together. That hamstring might have cost him a little bit. McFarland's so fast; he's a game breaker. If they can ever get him playing to his potential, he got a chance to be like a fast Eddie. Who was a running back we had? 39 Eddie.
Oh, you mean Willie Parker, Fast Willie?
Willie Parker.
Yeah, Fast Willie. I remember him. Yeah.
Marley got a chance to be fast, Willie Parker, and we know we can't depend on Benny Snell. He had pretty good games in the past, and then he would, you would start to depend on him, and he'd just be horrible. So, but he was able to help the Steelers secure a victory yesterday. So that was a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely, and I believe too that that was just the situation. I agree with you about Benny Snell because he has one good game and then he lays an egg or he soils the bed, as they say, in the next game. And, that could happen again. What's your thoughts on the defense last night? I thought they played, I guess, as well as they could. Once again, they kept on, they're not defending the pass right. And I don't understand what's going on with this Smoking Jim. This is getting out of control. Now, Jerry Dulac said, who's a reporter for the Post-Gazette, or the Striking Post-Gazette, that is. Anyway, he said that they need to get a really good corner who can not only just cover, but they got to get somebody who can really push them off and do what they need to do. They don't have that. And what do you think about that?
Well, name me 5 teams that do have it. I mean, the cornerback position, the receivers are so much better coming out of college than the cornerbacks. It's not even funny. I had a philosophy a few years ago, but nobody adopted it. About 20 years ago, I said I would take the 4th or 5th receiver on the team and convert him to a defensive back.
Right.
That's what they did years ago, especially with the black players like Mel Renfro and Herb Adderley and these guys who were quarterbacks in college, but as a black athlete, they couldn't be a quarterback in the National Football League at that time, so they converted them to defensive backs, and they were Hall of Famers. So that's what I would have done because these cornerbacks, they don't even turn the right way. They never look back for the ball. Michael Pittman looked like he was in the Hall of Fame. I mean, I know he was good for USC. He's a talented kid, but but that number 80 was a true rookie and wasn't running good routes. He should have been very easily covered, and he only came in with like 5 or 6 receptions and ended up with 8 or 9 receptions against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's inexcusable.
Oh yeah. And then also one other thing too. Uh, what I wanted to address was the situation with T.J. Watt. He didn't seem to be too much into the game last night. I guess maybe they were double teaming him, but the one guy that was there was a couple times he was blocked by just a single blocker, and he still didn't get in there. What do you think it is with him?
Well, being off for 2 months, and you can't get into the weight room, you're gonna lose some strength. Probably lost some weight. You know what I mean? All he is right now is a speed rusher. He can't be a bull rusher because he don't have the strength that he had before the operation. So,
right,
he's your team leader. He's a defensive guy. Everybody plays a little bit better that plays around him. I know it's a benefit to Highsmith who's having what I believe is a Pro Bowl season. Not just because of the sacks, but I think he forced 4 fumbles so far. I think he leads the NFL in forced fumbles, and that's a big thing when you're voting for somebody for the Pro Bowl.
Absolutely. Smokin' Jim, let's talk about the defensive line a little bit. I know you was spoken on Pittsburgh Sports Line tonight a little bit, but we could talk about a little bit of it here. And I agree with your colleagues there that it is a weak point other than Cam Hayward on that line pretty much. Wormley came through last night. He's been another one that's been kind of a disappointment this year. Last year he played pretty well, but this year he hasn't done much. He came around and when we needed him, but he's just like Benny Smell. He just, the next game he'll stink the joint up. And, so also, Alawu only playing part-time. Martavius Adams is in there at nose tackle. They just don't really have the talent. The DeMarvin Lew is still out. I didn't see him last night. So, with an injury. So what do you think about the defensive line?
Well, I think they're poorly coached. Number one, there's some talent over on that defensive side of the ball. Mm-hmm. Even Tyson Alalu, we're not getting any production from him. That comes down to coaching, man. You got to keep these guys. When you have a bunch of players who are, average to above average players, other than Hayward, those guys you should be keeping them fresh. You should be alternating them. There's no reason why Loudermilk shouldn't be more productive and getting some more play time. The guy's big. He's fast. You got to get him in there, get some experience. You got to keep these guys in there until somebody earns the right to play the majority of downs. Until they earn the right, man. You keep alternating them. Like you said, last year Wormsley really came on the second half of the season, and this year he's taking a major step back. I got to believe a lot of that is coaching.
Okay, end of the second, Smokin' Jim. Hurricanes 2, Penguins 1. So they still have one period to go. Hurricanes are a tough team to play, but they're from my favorite place, Raleigh, North Carolina. So I kind of root for the Hurricanes a little bit, but not as much as I do for the Pens. So anyway, but at least they're not getting blown out or anything like that. So that's good news. All right, the offense. Now the offense, the defense sets them up. That's like they set them up with the woman, and they don't know how to deal with the woman. What do you think? Am I right on that?
Say that again. I'm sorry, Rob.
I said it's like somebody setting somebody up with a woman, and they don't like the woman, or they can't do anything right with the woman. That's like the defense setting up the offense in the right spot, and they can't get any points out of it, or they get 3, or they, what do you think about that?
Again, that's on coaching. To me, this is a Super Bowl caliber team. Nobody agrees with that, but you cannot have a guy who's not ready to play quarterback. They wasted a lot of winning opportunities, forcing Kenny Kenny Pickett into the lineup.
Right.
Going after Mitch Trubisky, who's been a underachiever everywhere he's been. Except for 1 year, maybe at Chicago.
Right.
So had they had a competent quarterback that could keep the defense off the field, you see the offensive line is starting to work out their problems. They're opening some holes now for the running game, and Fryer moved to catch anything in your zip code. George Pickens will too. And again, life is about the decisions that you make. Deontay Johnson's a cancer to this team. Again, he could have had a first down, but he's running back.
Yeah.
Not getting the first down. He's
dropping passes. Yeah.
He makes $19 million a year and doesn't have one touchdown, but he's complaining all week. And I think the squeaky wheel got the ball. They're
right. Exactly.
They're rewarding these guys that's complaining. And he should have been the one that got traded instead of Claypool.
Yeah, I would have agreed with you on that one because he hasn't done anything anyway other than drop the ball most of the time. But knowing Deontay Johnson, he would go to another team and make a splash spectacular, just like some other receivers have in the past. Although Juju Smith-Schuster's not doing too bad, but he's not setting the world on fire, and neither is Claypool right now. So really, here we are. But anyway, you're right. He is a cancer in the locker room. Did not show up at Trubisky Summit down in Florida. He did not show up for that. And, he's not a team player. I don't think he is. And someone who always complains all the time, I don't think he needs to be playing, but that's not my decision. That's the coach's decision. Their participation will be our guide. Always remember that.
and we'd be remiss not to talk about the special teams. I mean, these guys got one job. Texas A&M at one time used to take walk-ons. When Jackie Sherrill was at Texas A&M, he called them the 12th man. Guys who are not good enough to be full-time football players, but got heart and balls and intestinal fortitude to go down the field and hit somebody.
Right.
He used to have walk-on tryouts from the student body, and they had the best special teams of anybody in college football. And now you got guys that's being paid. Only thing they have to do is cover kickoffs, and the guy's 9 yards deep in the end zone.
Yeah.
And he runs it all the way almost for a touchdown.
Yeah, he ran it 89 yards. I mean,
And don't forget, they had another guy named Rogers that ran the first two kickoffs and picked up pretty good yardage. So,
Eli Rogers, yes. Mm-hmm.
And don't forget, the best kickoff returner in NFL history, at least got the most touchdowns, is the kid for Atlanta that's been around for 10 years. So that's not going to be. And now you have listen, I would bring in the kicker. Listen, you have to have a guy who's competent in field goal kicking. Right. But the kid cannot kick it out of the end zone, although that one was 8 yards deep. But I would hire somebody this week just to kick the ball so that Atlanta doesn't do the same thing because, again, their kickoff return guy is number one in NFL history as far as bringing them back for touchdowns.
Well, what they could do is have train Harvin to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because remember that time when Jordan Berry got hurt, or the one punter, I forget who it was that got hurt, and Sweezum had to punt. Remember that when Sweezum was on the team, and he had to punt. Yeah. So they, I think, and I mean, I don't know how smart Danny Smith is. I think they if they're smart, they would cross train them both, as to what to do. You know what I'm saying? So, but I don't know if they do that or not. And again, they don't use Harvin for what they should, and that's throwing some passes, doing fakes and stuff. Any way to make a points, and any way to keep the other team's offense off the field. And I want to say this about Kenny Pickett. I know that the Steelers drafted Kenny Pickett. They were in a panic. You and I both know that the Dwayne Haskins thing really set them kind of into a panic mode. And I wish they wouldn't have pushed the panic button on this. Because I think the plan was originally to start Mason Rudolph, have Trubisky come in and compete with him, and then have Dwayne Haskins as your third string quarterback. And Dwayne Haskins was humble about that. He was content with that. You understand what I'm saying? So, he was happy to be with the Steelers and everything. It's just tragic that this happened to him. And, I believe this to be the case. That's why they drafted Pickett, because me and you and Claudio and Luther and everybody else all said that they should have went defensive line or offensive line or both. And they didn't do it that way. They should stockpile both lines of scrimmage. And I think Mason Rudolph could have carried them through the season, just like you always say, and I believe you. I was the one that said they should have brought Trubisky here. They did. And he's soiled the bed. So, I mean, it's one thing after another, with this team. And now it boils down to bad coaching from the head coach all the way to the assistants. He has nothing but assistants who are yes men. Yes, King Tomlin. No, King Tomlin. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yes, King Tomlin. Oh, go get me a cup of coffee. Yes, King Tomlin. I'll go get you a cup of coffee. Or I'll go mug the popcorn vendor for popcorn or something. You know what I mean for you. Anything you say, Mr. or King Tomlin. Anything you want. And if you watch his press conferences like I do, because I get some really good quotes like, let participation be our guide. I've noticed lately that he's been making them short. And I've also noticed, which of course happens a lot. You know this. You used to go down there all the time, and ask questions. Basically, he is making his line shorter. He's not talking big. Like for instance, they asked him this one question, and he went no, and then that was it. And he didn't go no further. And then every week they asked him the same question, and he got so frustrated this week that he said, "Why do you keep asking me that question every week?" And it was about Kenny Pickett. Like, well, what do you think, Kenny? He said, Kenny Pickett won. We won the game with Kenny Pickett. Stop asking me questions about Kenny Pickett. That was almost like that time I told you about when I was down at Three River Stadium there, and they were worried about Ben's thumb. You know what I mean? Or that time down at Heinz Field, they were worrying about Ben's or the place formerly known as Heinz Field. Excuse me. Anyway, they when he got on Shumway about that, and then I told you I was at that one press conference at Three River Stadium where he jumped all over that kid from Johnstown because he had just got done saying Joel Steed will not be available the rest of the season. He has a knee injury, he has to get surgery, and he may have to retire. And then, would you know it, the kid comes right up and says, "Excuse me, coach." First question of the night or the day for that comes right up to him and says, "What's going on with Joel Steed?" And he was like, "Didn't you listen? I already told you what's going on with Joel Steed. So don't ask me again about Joel Steed." I said, "Oh my gosh." So you can tell Tomlin is frustrated. I think he's frustrated because he's getting a lot of heat. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's getting heat from the front office. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I think, Art Rooney II has big time egg on his face because he's letting this happen and he shouldn't have. And he's made some bad decisions as well. Like you said, putting the money man in there, Omar Khan, and then bringing in the guy from Philly that I told you guys about, Andy Weidel, okay, who I think should be the general manager. He was the one that built Philly, okay, the Eagles. He did a lot of the legwork. So, I mean, but, the money cruncher, they call him now. They call him the money cruncher, anyway, that's what's going on with the Steelers, everybody. This week they play Atlanta. What do you think, Smokin' Jim? You think they have a chance against Atlanta this week or what? What do you think?
Well, let me go back a little bit. I'm not sure that you're wrong about Mr. Trubisky. It's just that he wasn't ready out the gate to be the starting quarterback.
No, he was not.
To come and learn a new system, learn the personnel, especially when a lot of your key players were either hurt or holding out, like Deontay Johnson. So I knew Trubisky wasn't ready at the start of the season.
Right.
He might have been ready now. He showed that he improved the one game that he came in to bail out Kenny Pickett when he got the concussion. So the Pittsburgh Steelers felt public pressure because they passed on Dan Marino in '83. and they did not want to pass again on a pick quarterback in the first round because they didn't want to take the heat from the public. So I think the Pittsburgh Steelers were really hoping that Kenny Pickett was already gone by the time they selected made their selection in the first round, and now they're married to him, and so we'll have to see what happens. Listen, this is a must win against Atlanta. The Steelers are going to have to do what we said it was a must win against Indy. It's a must win against Atlanta. You got to win that football game. To save respectability of the season,
Mhm.
you got to put back to back wins together. It's a short week, and they have to find a way. They have to find a way to win that football game and it's a winnable game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Marcus Mariota right now, Claudio's favorite quarterback. He's soiling the bed right now. He's not doing as well as he did at the beginning of the year. So I mean, anyway, we'll see what happens. I'm going to go with the score. I would say Steelers 24, Atlanta 10.
Wow!
Okay.
Wow!
Yeah.
Wow.
But I mean, I could be overextending this because if they have the first half they had against the Colts, already they're going to have 16 points, and they were able to put a touchdown and a 2-point conversion on the board. You see, so what I'm saying is I believe they can do that, but they need to score more touchdowns and less field goals because that's what's happening right now.
Well, knowing the Steelers the way I do, if I had to make a prediction, I predict Atlanta's going to win going away. Pittsburgh Steelers act like they're going to the Super Bowl because they won one game. There's lack of leadership in that locker room. These guys are going to be celebrating all week. They're going to get down in Atlanta and figure they just got to toss their helmet out onto the football field, and they're going to lose a winnable game.
Special teams.
I think Atlanta's going to turn it into a track meet. The Steelers ain't going to be able to handle it.
Special teams. That might be it, like you said.
I wouldn't doubt if Mariota runs for 100 yards.
That could happen.
He sure ain't going to throw for a lot.
Yeah, Malik Reed. He didn't look good. I mean, he hasn't done as well as I thought he was going to do. He was another guy there that's soiling the bed. And then Miles Jack, he's not looking good. Spillane was hurt, but Spillane, he's only good in certain, areas there. They have a lot of these guys that are just, good in certain areas. And here's the thing, too, that really bothers me, Smokin' Jim. King Tomlin, he has this habit of embracing bums. I mean, he has guys that don't deserve to be on the field, and they're bums. And you know it, and I know it. You know what I'm saying? Again, Devin Bush. I mean, but he's played better this year. Don't get me wrong. But he's not the number one pick caliber player. And believe it or not, Terrell Edmonds is even playing better. So, I mean, but the only reason he's playing better is because the Steelers turned him away. He didn't get nothing in free agency. So he signed a 1-year deal with the Steelers, and he's playing for a contract somewhere else that he may get if somebody gets desperate. I hear the Allenworth Federal Prison, Paul Crew and his gang there. I heard they're looking for him. So, but anyway, let's talk about AFC North. Cleveland 23, Tampa Bay 17. We were going to talk about that until I had technical problems with Leo Haggerty, my friend from Tampa. We're going to talk about some college football too and make some predictions. We're going to do that later. Jacksonville 28, Ravens 27. Ravens lay an egg in Jacksonville. Bengals 20, Tennessee 16. That was a good game. Since he pulled it out at the end or whatever against Tennessee. All right, they shut down. Oh, Henry, he always runs all over the place, no matter win or lose. All right, Pitt football, Smokin' Jimmy finished the season 8-4, beat Miami 42 to 16. I got to tell you, believe it or not, this was probably their best played game in a while. I mean, I'm talking about blowing a team out. I thought they were going to get out of Miami and lose because I was not sold because Narduzzi has never beaten Miami. This was his first time around. And you know how Pitt's been doing this year. They've been, soiling the bed against Georgia Tech and some other teams. And so, I mean, the games that they should win, they always seem to lose or disappoint. Now I'm hearing stories. They're going to go to the Pinstripe Bowl. I've heard two opponents. First one I heard was Purdue. And then the second opponent I heard was they could go up against, it was Purdue. It's somebody in the Big Ten, and I'm trying to remember who it is. Maryland. They could go up against Maryland. And that's up at Yankee Stadium up in New York. They transfer Yankee Stadium into a football field. They were supposed to go to that Fenway Bowl, but they're not doing that now. So, and it also looks like now I'm hearing they could be going to another bowl. They've got several predictions for some bowls out there, but the Pinstripe's the one that most of the predictions are coming around for. I thought the defense played well this week as usual, even though they were short a few people. Izzy ran for 111 yards. And then this week was a bad week. They really needed this win, Smokin' Jim. As you know, we were sharing our email or our messenger this week. Losing 3 recruits, they lost 2 4-star wide receivers and quarterback Kenny Minchie, who was a 4-star quarterback. They better do something if Slovis decides he's going to walk. And I'm going to tell you this right now. There's a whole bunch of quarterbacks that are leaving teams. Some of them are decent. They want to get out. They're either not getting playing time or, they're fighting with the coach or they're changing coaches or somebody, stole their headset or something. I don't know. They're getting out and they're going in the transfer portal. There's about 10 of them. And if I'm Pitt, I would be on the phone right now trying to get one of them here or 2 of them here because I'm going to tell you this right now. They're going to lose Nick Patty as well. He's transferring. He's got 1 more year left. He's going to be a 5th-year senior. They haven't stopped that COVID thing yet. So he's going to be moving on. He says he's had enough. So, I mean, and Slovis, we don't know what he's going to do yet. And I'm hoping he goes because I wasn't real satisfied with the way he played this year, considering. And they have Nate Yarnell and they have that other kid, that Gluth or whatever his name is. That's all they have. And they better go get somebody, and they better get some wide receivers in here too, because when Jarrett Wayne leaves, they're in trouble. So they better do something fast and quick. What do you think about this?
Let me first go back to AFC North. Cleveland Browns, man, they're going to be a problem because the running game travels well, and they got a great running game. And now Deshaun Watson is, he's been
cleared to play.
He's been cleared to play. So,
right.
If he's anything like he used to be, I don't know how much rust he's going to be.
Right.
Cleveland could be a problem. The Ravens, I don't know what's going on with them. Losing the lead. I think they're the number 1 team in the NFL history for losing 2-score leads in the 4th quarter already in one season. So I don't know what's going on with them, but they're a very talented team. And Cincinnati's just running away with it. Everybody was down on Cincinnati, but some teams just get off to a slow start. Cincy got off to a slow start last year.
And they got off to a slow start this year. Now they're moving along. Yeah, the train's starting to go down the tracks. Yeah. So, I mean,
that may be their,
yeah.
That may be, how they perform. But I knew they had the talent, and they're coming on right now, man. They're going to be a problem for anybody in the playoffs. But as far as Pitt, I'm not totally down on the quarterback. I thought he played a couple good games before he got that concussion. He never seemed like he played well after that. So maybe he could catch a little Pickett if he comes back 1 more year. Another year in the system, a full off season. And maybe it might help. Who knows? I don't think he's ready for the NFL, so I would be surprised if he doesn't come back. But like you said, like you and I talked about before, Pitt has been very successful the last 2 or 3 years in November,
Right.
and I don't know why they lose a lot in October and September, lose games they shouldn't lose, but all of a sudden they catch fire in November and then can't win the bowl game.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. That's
I don't know how you feel about it, but as a player, I would never want to play in a pinstripe
no,
game.
no,
I
not
want to
at
go
all.
to a bowl game where there's sun and palm trees and good weather. I don't want to be in New York and all that ice and snow and cold weather playing a meaningless game. So,
Well, another thing too, Smoking Jim, why recruits don't want to come here. They take a look at the audience, or they take a look at the fans at Heinz Field, and they see that there's not a whole lot of people in Heinz Field for the games. And I don't want to hear no excuses about, oh, it's a pro stadium. You know what? Cincinnati, the University of Cincinnati, but they have their own field. Okay, there's a lot of these. Look at Miami; they play at Hard Rock Stadium. Look at Temple; they play at the Link. So I don't want to hear this that you can't draw, in a field like that. And why would I want to go to a stadium and sit on bleachers and in the grass, when I can sit in a nice, comfortable seat at Heinz Field or at the Acrisure Stadium? And I would rather I'll take that any day of the week. And everybody used to beef when they would move games to Three River Stadium. Heck, I'd rather sit in a comfortable seat at Three River Stadium than walk up that hill and sit in bleachers up there up there on Cardiac Hill. I would have rather done that. So I don't know where everybody's complaining about. It's not going to change. Pitt has a 30-year plan. They have a new stadium in the works. My question is, where are you going to put it? My next question is, where are you going to park your car? Because if it's in Oakland, parking is a bear. I mean, I would rather take the T and go to Heinz or to Acrisure Stadium, or park my car at one of the T stations, parking rides, and jump on the T and go, rather than going all the way to Oakland. So, but I think that's part of the problem with Pitt with this recruiting, and also too, it's part of the problem when a recruit gets to Pitt, and then they slide them down the depth chart so bad, and they keep playing some of these guys who really shouldn't even be playing. You understand what I'm saying? And I think that they get depressed, they get discouraged, and they leave. Another thing too, it's too city. When people want to go to college, they want to go somewhere where they're away from the city. They want to get out. They want to go like in Penn State. Now, State College, Penn State is State College, okay?
Yeah.
And they draw 100,000 fans to their games.
Yeah.
West Virginia, Morgantown. West Virginia is Morgantown. Win, lose, or draw, West Virginia draws a lot of fans, okay? Some of these universities at Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and places like that, okay? It's just not a college atmosphere at Acrisure Stadium. I understand that for some people, okay? But I don't know what it's going to take to get the fans back in the seats, but they got to do something with that, because Smoking Jim, that's part of the problem why they need to sit down and figure out why we can't get these recruits here. What's the problem? Is it too city? Okay, is the university too city? Or is it just, you know what I mean? And every time you turn around, these football players are getting in trouble somewhere. Hayes was just in trouble with the law. That one that got kicked off the team a few years back that punched a cop. I mean, the basketball team. So it's too city. Where at least if you go to state college, even IUP is not even city. I mean, IUP is country. I mean, Slippery Rock. I mean, places like that. So I think that's part of the problem. And another part, I don't think Narduzzi and his staff are as good a recruiters as they advertise to be. I mean, I know Charlie Partridge is good in Florida, but what can he do everywhere else? Okay, well, I don't know what Frank Signetti can do. I don't know if he can recruit. And the only reason he was good under Wannstedt was because Wannstedt was a salesman. He could recruit. So what do you think about this, Smoking? And what do you think of what I'm saying?
No, I agree with you 100%. For Pitt to have the alumni base that they have, and their alumni base is very, very impressive.
It is.
They should at least get 50,000 people at every game, at least. I don't care if they was playing on the moon. They should be able to get 50,000 not even counting the student body, just alumni to come back. You cannot get a ticket at Penn State because the people come back that graduated from Penn State. They come back and make a weekend out of it. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and that means something when you're recruiting, man. You're recruiting. Somebody sees that they want to play for a program like that. They go to a pit game and there's 10,000 people, and very few of them were still in their seat. And
Yeah.
I mean, he wants to play in that. There's no electricity
Right.
in the air. Like a lot of recruits committed after the West Virginia game because they thought that's what it was every week, man. That was the backyard brawl. The
Yeah.
electricity was in the air.
And then they show up at the Rhode Island game, which my wife and I were at, and there's what 10, 20,000, 30,000 people there, and the seats are bare, and I mean it's just been like this for a while, and it's Pitt has got to figure something out. I want to tell you this. I got this nugget for you. Do you know West Virginia fired their athletic director? And guess why they fired him?
I don't know.
Poor fundraising.
Wow.
Okay, when you're an athletic director, you got to fundraise. I don't know what Heather Light does. Okay, I don't think she does much. She wasn't really good at Eastern Michigan. They couldn't wait to get rid of her. She had the only good coach she had for football was Butch Jones. Then he went to Tennessee, and then he moved on. So I mean, it's been tough with her, and I don't see her having a backbone to do anything. But anyway, one thing I wanted to say was former Pitt wide receiver coach Brendan Marion, who left because he was promised the offensive coordinator's job when Whipple left and Narduzzi screwed him. So he is current Texas wide receivers coach. He's a candidate to be the OC at Oregon. So there you are. He's going to be at Oregon with Clem, who left the Steelers to go to Oregon too. And but anyway, basketball team, on the other hand, the men's team, they beat William and Mary on Friday. They lost the first round of the Big Ten ACC tournament. Their record currently is 6-3. Last night they blew out Northwestern 87-58. First time that they had a 63% shooting since 2009 from the 3-point range. Smokin' Jim, first time since 2009. So, all right, the Pens, Smokin' Jim, 11-8-3 played. They're playing the Hurricanes tonight, and